Well, once we're done, we can airdrop it straight to my laptop.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. We are in Tabanan at the I Am Creation Retreat, and I'm sitting here with the wonderful Matteo.
Hi, Marina.
Thank you for doing this with me. We're just gonna ask some few questions to Matteo to learn about him, his superpowers, and his gifts, how his work inspires and helps people. And I actually don't know a lot about you, even though I've known you for a few months now. So I'm gonna learn a bit about you today. So, what is your name?
My name is Matteo. I was born in Denmark and I've been living in Asia for the last couple of years.
Okay. And where are you originally from?
My parents are from Iran, despite my Italian name. That's my middle name. My first name is Aryan, so I go under Aryan Matteo.
So should I call you Ariane or Matteo?
Most people call me Matteo.
Okay. I'm Marina, as you know, and you know where I'm from. So, Matteo, tell me a little bit about what you do.
I would say I bring enlightenment teachings from the great Eastern traditions. I try to ground it in a very grounded, simple way for especially Westerners to be able to integrate that, understand that, and to live that in their daily lives. So I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist, and I also practiced a lot of meditation, went really deep in the meditative traditions. So I bridge the Enlightenment teachings with psychology and how to live a liberated life moment to moment.
I love that. And do you have a name for your teachings or programs?
I've developed a few modalities. One of them is called the awareness method because I work with creating awareness. That's the main thing. All modalities that truly work, in my opinion, are creating awareness and consciousness. So my main modality is called the awareness method.
And what are your, not what you do, what are your superpowers?
My superpowers, probably the feedback I often get is my beingness. And the fact, I think when you, there is this saying where they say you can only take someone else as deep as you have gone. So I've gone tremendously deep into my own unconsciousness. And I think I emanate that depth and that presence. And when people feel that, it perhaps gives them a reminder to go as deep in themselves or to feel safe in going, in really facing the depth and letting it transmute to light.
Wow. What about other superpowers?
I have a ability to see patterns in myself and in others quite deeply and be able to help bring awareness to those really subtle layers for other people that most people and teachings, in my experience, can easily miss because you can only see those layers of subtlety if you have seen them in yourself. So that's another superpower.
Pattern detection.
Mm-hmm.
Could you name them like a list rather than a full explanation? So if it's like for me, my superpower is being really magnetic or being able to do 3 things at the same time or being being super like a ADHD creative genius, having all kinds of like crazy creative ideas. Can you list powers
You mean
like that?
when working with people or
No,
in general as a human being?
Yeah, just like what do you think makes you special?
I have an enormous, relentless. Good.
Yeah.
I have a relentless intensity and fierceness, and I don't stop before I get to the bottom of things. That's one of them. I have a tremendous integrity and love for the truth as a human being. I think those are some of my superpowers.
And what's one of the, if you want to share, what is like one of the hardest things you've been through? If you want to share that, or what has it taught you? What has like biggest challenges you faced in your life taught you as a human that you've now integrated as a value or practice? Because usually it's our biggest pains and the hardest things we go through that take us into the depths of ourselves, and then from that we learn our superpowers and our gifts, like resilience, having that warrior energy.
I had 6 years of a dark night of the soul, which was non-stop purification. I mean, literally non-stop for 6 years, and it brought my ego rather to my knees, and the only option I had was to surrender.
Surrender.
And after that finished, I thought, I'm never going to face anything in life that will be more difficult than that.
And if you could start over again, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I would
Not
do-
even prevented the 6 years of pain?
No.
A faster tracks, like say something you were procrastinating on for years or something you should have changed sooner?
I wouldn't change a single thing, because every one of those steps and missteps I took is what brought me to this moment, and I'm so grateful and present in this moment. So if I changed it, I don't know if it would be the same.
And what initiated your dark night of the soul?
I made a prayer to the universe from a very deep place, and I prayed that I don't care if I'm going to lie on a bed and burn karmas for the next 20 years. Just give me whatever it takes to achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. That's what started the process. My whole life started being unraveled after that prayer.
Wow.
It wasn't 20 years, thank God. It was just 6 years.
And what's an example of a belief that you had to change or upgrade that you no longer have anymore? Or a few?
The main belief that I think is causing suffering to everyone, and that I'm still meditating on, is the belief that I am a separate being. That's the main belief from which all other beliefs sprout from.
Only? Does any other like resonate that you feel called to share? Like anything around money, for example, or family stuff?
No, not really. I mean, I could share a lot of beliefs, but once you get to the root of the belief that we are a separate being, you'll see all of the belief in lack, all of the belief that I need to overwork and push and fight the universe and make things happen, all of that gradually falls away. And you just learn to be happy, you know. In the current day and age, there are so many beliefs that we need to have it all. We need to be enlightened, and we need to be millionaires, and we need to have a soulmate connection, etc., which is fine if, you know, that's our love. But where I rest now is more, I just want to have what is my destiny. If it's in my destiny to be broke, if it's in my destiny to be a multi-billionaire, if it's my destiny to be famous or to be a complete unknown nobody, I accept that. So once we get at this root of separation, in my experience, I've come to just, my highest prayer is just, God, I want what you want for me. Instead of what I want for myself, whatever life wants for me is what I want. That's the surrender. It's not always easy, but that's the surrender.
Whatever life wants for me instead of what I want for myself.
Yes.
So it's like, in a way, being a martyr, devotee.
A devotee, and as you go deeper and deeper with that, you start realizing that what you want for yourself and what life wants for you is one, because you are life. But that takes a lot of surrender.
Yeah, only can you go through the depths of hell to really understand that. And if someone is watching this video right now and is say in a really like dark place or in a place of deep suffering, and they need help, and they're in a very like victimhood state, everything bad's happening to me, I don't know what to do with my life, like I need to escape, I need a way out, what would you advise them?
First, I would tell them that I'm sorry for their experience. It's tough. Life can be really tough. You know, we all go through all kinds of things, and I would urge them to find somehow whatever resource, whatever inner strength they can. For some, that's going to mean to reach out to some friends. For others, it's going to be just to grab themselves by the neck and say, no, I'm not going to quit. Each person is different. But find whatever resource you can and move forward, because giving up is not an option, really. So help yourself in whatever way you can to move forward. And maybe in a few years or in a few months, you're going to look back and you're going to be very pleased, and you might even laugh about all the pain you went through at some point.
Yeah, it does. You do laugh like later on, and usually we find that our greatest sufferings and end up being our greatest strengths later on, and then we become experts in the things that we need the help the most on, because we went deep into that healing journey. And then there's a beautiful way, a beautiful way to look at it when you can then reinvent yourself. You go to the root and foundation of your being to see where you think you are broken, and then to realize you are whole, and then rebuild your life for being around that. And what I realized recently for myself, being on this journey now for only a few years, is it's a constant like integration, like who am I, what am I doing here, and you realize everyone's here just trying to figure it out. No one has all the answers, no one is perfect. And I realize, especially when you have such a profound awakening, there's many different realities existing, but there's two main ones: the ones of the planet that are living in unconscious and conscious fear, that are still in the matrix, and then the ones that do the inner work, people like us, and are continuously working on freeing themselves to the matrix. And it's, for me, my interest is creating support or systems for people that are easier to reach wherever you are in your life in an awakening, to have that support. Because yeah, we just don't have enough of it. I realize, like, who do you go to, when you think you're like, for me, when I look back at myself, I thought I was going crazy, and I was going crazy, and my family thought I had lost the plot, and I just needed a support system, or for someone to kind of like guide me and tell me, this is a phase in your life you're going to go through. There was no one there to tell me that. And now I'm like, shit, how do other people in the world cope? Not all of them have the right like tools or support systems.
Definitely.
Or because many of us feel like, even me, we don't belong here. We're here, but we don't necessarily belong here with this dysfunctional society, all this pain and suffering. And yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. And how I view it is, we're all on the same journey. Some of us are moving through that journey with more consciousness. Some of us are being dragged more unconsciously. And I do believe that everyone on this planet is on the same journey somehow towards more awareness. But some of us are going through it in a more slow way, and some of us more accelerated way. And maybe in a previous life, I was one of those persons who was really unconscious, so we're all kind of one in this journey.
And do you have any other insights you'd like to share, something that's very profound and deep to you that you've learned and really embodied?
I would say I would invite everyone to really analyze your life. This is the only thing the Buddha did. He analyzed his life and his circumstances. He really looked within. So we need to have this honesty to look within. If we're grasping at things constantly or pushing things away, and we see that this causes tremendous suffering, we need to find enough intelligence not to do that. But this is a very hard thing, because we're emotionally attached to repeating patterns. So we have to use our own intelligence and common sense and stop doing the things that are causing us pain and do more of the things that bring us to alignment. It sounds easy, but it's a difficult process, because the ego in many ways is attached to pain and suffering and struggle and afraid of total freedom and love.
Why are they afraid of total freedom and love?
Because for the ego, that means dissolution. If one surrenders into freedom and love, the separate sense of self that we believe is us will dissolve. And this is
ego doesn't want that.
You won't be able to find yourself or reference yourself the way we're used to. This feels unknown, but in fact, there is no loss. You'll see, oh, I still am, I just aren't anything I can define, but I still exist. Unequivocally.
Not easy for people to explain. It's like when you get asked the question, who am I? I'm Marina.
Yes.
I'm many things.
Yes.
I'm everything and nothing at the same time. And I really dislike that question. It's an uncomfortable question, because it's like, who am I can mean anything. It's what I give meaning to myself, how I see myself, how I label myself. But I show up as many different things, and people can define me in many different ways. So yeah, there's no way to define us, actually. We're just taught to define and like label everything and categorize everything, but sometimes we just let things be.
To be comfortable with not defining ourselves is the practice of presence or meditation. To give up the mind's need to define life or ourselves in any particular way. And then we discover this is already heaven, this is already free. It's all so wonderful and beautiful.
Yeah, we have to find that first, do the inner work to get to that state. And Could you tell me a little bit about your IFS family systems, how it works? I wanted to ask you actually one to one. I noticed that for me personally, a lot of emotions around shame came up during this retreat and just stuff from my past. And then you, I think it was you or someone else telling me that I was, oh no, it was Ken telling me that I was projecting it. It was not my family's, I was projecting it. I think it's from my family, it was my own projection. I'm just interested to know how that links to the work that you do, because I've been doing constellations now for 2 years, and I believe everything is a constellations, family constellations, when you bring people together. And I would love to learn a bit more about how you help people with that.
I use a lot of different modalities because there are many different levels of consciousness, and as a good facilitator, it's about meeting the person where they are. So in India, they have this saying, you cannot teach enlightenment to people that are hungry. So
Oh, wow.
from a psychological perspective, Maslow would say the basic hierarchy of needs. So it's good to have many methods and to have flexibility as a facilitator so that you can meet people where they are. So for some people, it might be very helpful to do some IFS or to teach them, look, this is just a part of you, it's not all of you, to create that distance. For other people, you might just tell them that there are no parts, there is no ego even that you can find. It all depends on which level they are at and what they're ready for. If you give the wrong teaching to a person, their ego will hijack it and use it in a dissociative way. That's not going to be helpful to them. So
Just to disconnect, they won't, yeah.
if someone has a lot of undigested trauma, they're going to love a kind of enlightenment non-duality teaching that says, oh, there's nobody here, because it gives them a chance to just avoid all the pain. Yeah? So we have to give the right teachings and right pointings to the person we're working with. That takes heart attunement to actually feel the other, to get over our own selfishness, our own limitation, our own agenda, and to actually be able to feel the person in front of us so that we can serve, so that whatever is meant for them can move through us.
Wow. And how long have you been doing that for?
I've been working with people for 20 years, 15 years more depth work of spirituality and psychotherapy, it's a shadow work, etc. Yeah.
So Matteo, I want to give you a label, I just don't know what title to give you.
Yeah. The human being.
Matteo the human being,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The spiritual human being?
Yeah.
Spiritual and human being.
Yeah. Eventually, to me, they became more and more the same thing. I used to experience my spiritual side and then my human side. And my human side had a lot of pain, a lot of shame, a lot of fear, etc. And therefore, he wanted to have some spirituality that's somewhere else, to get a break from his pain. And gradually, as I went somewhere else through thousands of hours of meditation and retreats, I saw, hey, the point isn't to go somewhere else, it's to dissolve the separation, all kinds of separations. The separation between spirituality and human being, other and self, etc. So that we experience this wholeness in ourselves, that we all deserve. It's our birthright to feel whole, to feel okay, not perfect, but okay as we are.
Yeah, perfection doesn't exist. And is there any support you're looking right now for yourself in your personal and your business life as you move around the world?
If anybody feels a resonance to reach out, I'm always happy to have a conversation, but nothing specific.
Any kind of collaborations that you're interested, or certain people you're calling in?
Not really. I trust that the people I have resonance with, if they see this or if they meet me somewhere, we're gonna feel it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I usually do it this in my masterminds and networking events. The point
Yeah.
is to connect people together. So say if you're looking someone maybe to help you in marketing in your business, or
Yeah.
kind of mentor or teacher, it's
Yeah.
like usually about connecting them within the spiritual network.
Understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
building.
I'm open. If
Okay.
anybody feels a resonance, reach out.
And what's one message you'd like to leave for people today? What is a change you'd like to see in the world
Mm,
for people to do more or less of?
well, I have a wish. I have a wish for the world and for all of us that we can connect more with the love that we are and do the work as a result of that, do our own self-love work, then naturally we start having compassion for others when we have compassion for others. But I don't believe there's anything wrong with the world. I see the world as it is, utterly perfect. It is part of the plan. And I wish that we can have more love, less wars, and all of that, of course.
More love and less wars.
Yeah.
And more love really starts with loving yourself
Yes.
first, and that's really about the journey of going within. And I'm sure people hear this a lot, like it's all within you, and you don't know what that means until you sit with yourself and use different modalities and tools that others can hold space for you or teach you how to go within, because our whole lives we are distracted, we are just overwhelmed all the time. Attention, our war, there's constant war on our attention, and not enough time to sit and love ourselves and just be with ourselves and just be without the ego telling you all the things you have to do. And that's really a journey that we're all on to become better at.
If there's one thing I would tell people is see if you can surrender any part of you that thinks it knows anything. Because as you were mentioning, the truth is nobody here knows the goal of life or what life is. So if we can release ourselves from the pressure of that, suddenly we can discover, okay, well, what's right in this moment? What's right in this moment? For me, as far as I can tell.
And who's running this show anyway? We don't even know who's the real authority figure out there.
Yeah.
And if you ask yourself as well every day, who am I? And write that down, or just ask your ego, it will always have a different answer. And if you keep asking deep enough, it won't have anything to say. If you keep just going,
like that.
who am I? 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 Eventually, like, you won't have an answer, because it's like, I'm nothing, I'm everything. What does it even matter?
That's called neti approach in the Advaita tradition.
What does that mean?
Neti means not this, not that. So you keep asking, who am I? And then you discover,
Good to
well, I'm
know.
not that, not this, not that, not that. And eventually you will discover this wholeness, this allness that you describe.
Beautiful. Yeah, and if people could just take the time to find a movement every day, I find that movement's the most helpful to connect to self. Cathartic, shaking, or incredible dancing, and then just sitting in meditation for a few minutes, but always movement first, and then sitting. Just sit with yourself and feel, really feel.
Agreed. Have a formal practice, guys. It's so important.
Okay, thank you so much, Matteo. I hope people resonate. They'll reach out to you for your enlightenment work.
My pleasure, Marina.
Thanks. So hug. Thank you. Well, 5 minutes, not way longer.